Obahin bebre ano poku are no mawano asante kotokono no soni ebedi akwa.
Hay merhabalar, nasılsın, nasıl gidiyor?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Aman oğlum, bütün yaz Bodrum'daydın, şu haline bak, kapkara oldun. Allah seni kahretsin.
Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian. In today's video, can't believe that it's been so long since I was in my mid-20s. You know, 20 years have gone by, but I still remember those days, and I still remember the things that I was getting up to when I was 23, 24 years old. And the reality is that it was nothing really that good, especially when it comes to the women. I mean, I was a bit of a beast, if I need to be honest with you. I didn't really care about women, and I knew that I was in that privileged position where I could kind of attract them. I wouldn't say that I was a ladies' man, but I didn't have any problems. This is the way things are for a lot of men when they're in the mid-20s. It just tends to come to them pretty easily, especially if you are an athlete. I mean, I wasn't an athlete, and I know that it was easy for me. So an athlete, man, they are living in a totally different world. In today's video, we're going to talk about one such player, a football player in the United Kingdom, a football player of Senegalese descent, a person that had lived in some of the most derelict places in France and had risen through the ranks, going to Monaco and becoming one of the best football players in France. He then moved to England and made himself a fortune in doing so. The person who we're talking about today is Benjamin Mendy. Benjamin Mendy is a 26-year-old football player, and he currently makes his profession in Manchester for Manchester City Football Club. He is on around £250,000, that's around $300,000 a week. So to say that this guy has come from having practically nothing to being able to afford anything that he wants is a little bit of an understatement. This guy literally has everything going for him. He's tall, he's dark, he's good looking. The women love him. He is rich. He is famous. So how on earth did he put himself in a position where he is now in prison for an R charge? Do we know what an R charge is? We know what an R charge is, don't we? Okay. I can't really say the word on YouTube, but let's just say it starts with R and ends with an E. He is now being held on remand for multiple charges, and we're talking about 6 of them. So there are 6 accusations of the R charge, and there is 1 accusation of an SA, an S assault. We're not going to go into that either. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about there as well. This is not an unknown phenomenon. This is not something that we haven't heard of before. We know that women tend to get themselves into situations where they believe that they are being impeded on in that sort of a way. And for some women, you've got to remember, this is the only chance that they're going to have in their lives. This is the only chance that they're going to get to be able to swan off to Dubai, to do all the lame things that poor people think that rich people do all the time. And I genuinely believe that Benjamin Mendy has been put in such a situation. But we need to ask ourselves a few questions. Is Benjamin Mendy innocent of any wrongdoing? Is it possible that he did do something wrong? Is it possible that these women who are making these accusations are completely fabricating it? I'm going to give you my opinion. First, I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting the channel on our Patreon, link in the description. I'd also like to invite you to please follow the Oversight channel, the channel that is there to help you to invest on the African continent both safely and securely. Link also in the description. I think it's important before we start that we take a look a little bit into the background of the person that is Benjamin Mendy. So Benjamin Mendy was born in France, in southern France, to a Senegalese mother and a Senegalese father who had migrated there. And they did this to give their children a better life. Benjamin Mendy is one of 4 brothers. Benjamin Mendy grew up with dreams of becoming a football player, and he had all the attributes of a good football player. He could easily outmaneuver any player on the field. He was tall, he's strong. Benjamin Mendy is a beast. So Benjamin Mendy had everything going for him. Benjamin Mendy was accepted at the academy at Marseille, and he soon rose through the ranks to play for the professional football team of Marseille. After Marseille, he was sold to Monaco, where he enjoyed a really good life. This is where he rose to preeminence, became one of the key players for France. After that, he went to play for France at the World Cup and won a World Cup. So this guy is not even finished being a teenager yet, and he has won everything. Needless to say, his career went from strength to strength, and it wasn't long before one of the richest teams in the world, that is Manchester City, had their eye on the 24-year-old football player, and they paid £52 million, that is somewhere in the region of $70 million for the football player, and he moved to Manchester City. He got all these women throwing themselves at him, and it was a struggle for him. He was someone in his mid-20s. He had lots of money. He had lots of time on his hands. He had fame. So it's difficult for a person who, in that position, who has moved to a different country, a place where he had never lived before, and he now needs to act like an adult, when in fact he is somebody who probably has the mental attitude of someone who's still a teenager. I know I did when I was 24, and this is part of the reason why he struggled. So he didn't really play that well at Manchester City, even though he ended up still helping the football team to win the Premier League, the biggest league in the United Kingdom. And of course, because of this, he got loads of bonuses, he got even more money, he got even more fame, and he had even more women throwing themselves at him. He bought a huge mansion in the north of England, and he started having parties. And this is where the trouble starts. October of 2020, Benjamin Mendy was arrested on a charge of the R charge. Okay, so we know what we're talking about. The R charge. If you are arrested, you are presumed innocent. So the football team was aware that he had been arrested on this R charge, but they didn't say anything because he is presumed innocent. So he continued to play for the football team for another 9 months. And then another charge came up of Benjamin Mendy doing the same thing at one of his parties in his mansion. Now, he was subsequently rearrested once again, and he had another charge added. So this is 4 altogether. And then he had an SA, an S assault charge added to that by someone who was under the age of 18. And that apparently is below the age of consent if you are above 25 in the UK. I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments section if you know better. So after this next charge, the football team had to suspend the football player because of these allegations, which was, in my opinion, perhaps the smart thing to do. He was given bail and told to stay at home, and under these bail conditions, he was not supposed to have a certain amount of people come to his house. In fact, you weren't allowed to have a certain amount of people, that is more than 6 people, go to his house at any one time for any reason. And the reason for that is, of course, it was a lockdown. So you're not allowed to do that. And if you do that, you're breaking the law in the UK. Benjamin Mendy didn't seem to care, and he invited 20 people over, including this young lady that he invited over. He sent for her, paid for her first class over to Manchester from Greece. He was also caught trying to solicit women from agencies to come to his house, and of course he'd pay for them to do God knows whatever. One of the agencies told a newspaper that he said, and I quote, Mendy declared he wanted a big bum Latina in one message. So this is the type of guy who, even though he had all these arrests and these charges pending against him, he was still thinking that he could still go out and do whatever he wanted to. He thought that he could go out and order women like he was ordering a Chinese or something. This is exactly the way a lot of these football players are. So I can't blame people for believing that he actually is guilty of these charges. But we also must remember that there are a lot of women, especially in the UK, who are desperate for that type of life. They are desperate for fame and fortune themselves. And a lot of them are good looking, so they think that they will get that if they go to the right nightclubs, if they hang around the right people, if they inbox the right football player, and they will get that traction. They will get a chance of being able to live the high life with one of these Premier League football players. They will do anything. And I'm telling you now, you cannot trust them. You cannot trust them. You cannot trust them. English women. You can't trust them. I'm telling you this now. I could say European women, but I don't know many European women in general, but I could possibly extend it to them too. Or I could extend it to just women, period. You remember Brittany Renner, the video that we made not long ago. We know that it doesn't matter the color, it doesn't matter where they come from. Pretty much every single woman who has gone and gotten a little bit of plastic surgery and who has the right filters and the right makeup on their Instagram profile, they all believe that they deserve that type of life and they will do anything in their power in order to get it. So I don't know these women. I don't have any pictures of them. Of course, it is illegal to share photographs of them, so I can't show any photographs. But the types of life that these football players lead and their likely immaturity that has made them more socially inept. They just don't understand how to behave around people because they believe that they can do pretty much anything they want and get away with it. It is clear that Benjamin Mendy is one of these people who felt this way. He feels like that he can just pretty much do anything and you have to bow to him because I'm Benjamin Mendy. I can do whatever I want. And I think that now he is getting his just desserts. Could have put himself in a much stronger position if he would have perhaps have thought with his mind and not with what was between his legs. But like I told you at the beginning of the video, it is very difficult, very difficult to do that when you're in your mid-20s. I cannot imagine what he went through being in his mid-20s, being a multi-millionaire, being famous, being rich, being handsome, just having everything. Let's try to answer the most important question. Do I think that Benjamin Mendy did this? Yes and no. That's the simple answer. I think in some cases he may have gone the extra step because that's what these football players do. And most of the times when this happens, the women don't say anything because they don't want to get that football player into trouble because they're trying to push the boundaries themselves a bit. So I don't think he is totally innocent. However, I do know that once this first charge came in, that every single woman that he looked at in a funny way has come forward and said, oh, well, Benjamin Mendy has done this to me, because I know that for them, it will bring them a bit of fame, a bit of money, a bit of notoriety. And that's what a lot of these women crave. They crave a bit of notoriety, whether it be positive or negative. As long as it's linked to a celebrity, they don't really care. So I do believe that he might have done something, okay? I actually am more strongly believing that he has done something, definitely to perhaps the women who first made that charge. But the other women that came along later, I truly believe that they have simply just made up those allegations in order to gain themselves a bit of notoriety. I don't know who is Benjamin Mendy's agent or whether he has family over there protecting him, taking care of him. But what I do know is whoever is taking care of his affairs is doing an extremely poor job. They need to kick whoever it is out of his life, even if it's one of his brothers or his father. They need to get rid of them so that they could get somebody in who is a professional, who will take care of him, who will make sure that he will do the right things at the right time so he can at least try and get off on these charges. He's currently in prison now and he will be there for the next few weeks, and apparently he seems to be really taking it hard inside there. Now, today's the 21st of December. Tomorrow is an important day because he goes to court tomorrow and he may be released if they throw the charges out, which I doubt they are going to do. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that no matter what happens, that tomorrow he gets released. So at least then, when his proper court date comes up, get himself properly sorted before he has to go to court. I wouldn't wish Christmas, New Year's in a tiny prison cell on anybody. It's not a nice time of the year to do that. And his employers at Manchester City at this moment have now suspended him. So they haven't fired him, which is good. It's good news. So let's hope that this situation will change Benjamin Mendy's ways. These allegations are totally repulsive. They are really horrible when they are fake. But how do we know they are fake? In the next few videos, we're going to go into a few more of these types of cases because they're so difficult for us to look at. We're going to take a look at some of the women who have openly expressed these allegations, and we're going to try and figure out whether we can find out through their body language whether they are telling the truth or not. So guys, what do you think? Do you think Benjamin Mendy is guilty of these so-called charges? Do you think he did it? Do you think he is totally innocent? Do you think that they are telling the truth? Should we give them the benefit of the doubt? I know I wouldn't, and that's just because they are women, period. No offense, because I know there's a lot of women watching this, but there are so many women out there who are out for us. I would not give them the benefit of the doubt. Please, guys, stay safe. If you're a woman, if you're going to go back to somebody's place, please take some receipts just in case. Never just trust anybody. This comes from everybody. If you are a man, if you're an athlete, you're taking a woman back home with you, take some receipts. Take a recording, not a video recording, but an audio recording. Make sure you protect yourself. That's all I've got time for today. I'd like to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'd like to give an extra special thank you to my Patreons, and I'll see you in the next one. Until the next time, please think twice. Please think twice. Ta-ra.